We start the 7 o'clock hour with breaking news out of Brighton, and it's causing quite a bit of problems in the area of Chavez Street and Beldock Street. Thanks for joining us. I'm Corey Rose.
And I'm Drew Carney. 9 News reporter Lauren Scafidi, meanwhile, live on the scene there. Lauren, I know you just got some new information on this, so what have you learned?
I just talked to the Brighton Police Department, and they did give me some new information. And since we've been here, we've seen a drone up in the air. It looks like it just dropped now. And we've also heard several warnings over the loudspeaker. Haven't really been able to make out what they've said. Heard something about come up with your hands up. We're going to try to keep listening here to see what we can hear. Otherwise, we've got this caution tape up here. This is up on Chavez Street between Matsuno and Cade. Brighton police just told me that they say the suspect is still barricaded inside the home. I did ask for an exact address. All police were able to tell me is that this is the 300 block of Beldock. Everyone on that 300 block has been evacuated. Police say that everyone else in this area has been told to stay inside. Police tell me the call came in around 8 last night, and they've been out here since then. Brighton police says that officers went around door to door in this neighborhood again, telling people to stay inside of their homes. So we still do have a lot of questions this morning. I asked Brighton police who this man is, what led up to this shooting. Does he live in the home that he's barricaded in right now? They weren't able to answer any of those questions. They say that's still under investigation. As soon as we get more answers this morning, I'll be sure to bring you those live on air and online at 9news.com. Live in Brighton, Lauren Scafidi, 9 News.
All right, thank you, Lauren. We're also following developing news this morning in Broomfield. Neighbors in the Anthem neighborhood were told to shelter in place for several hours late last night while police searched for a man who ran from officers. They say he may be armed. That shelter in place order, by the way, has been lifted at this point, but police say they still have not found the suspect. So here's some more details on this. Broomfield police first sent out an alert around 10:20 last night for residents near Compass Way and Prospect Lane near Colorado National Golf Club. The man they're looking for right there on your screen. Heriberto Vasquez Mosqueda. Police say he was wanted in a case out of Fort Collins, was chased by police, crashed near Highway 7, and then ran away. Officers say they used air support, K-9 teams, and help from multiple law enforcement during the search. But again, they still don't know where the suspect is. Police are asking anyone who sees him to call 911. Of course, we'll continue to bring you updates on this story as it develops. In the meantime, Brianna Fernandez.
Happy Monday, everyone. 7:03 is your time, and we have a beautiful sunrise for anyone taking I-70 this morning and had to head eastbound right near Brighton Boulevard. So traffic very light, no crashes to report or overnight closures, but I do want to show you what that looks like on our map. So you can see it is starting to get busy along Highway 285 for those in Highlands Ranch, or I should say for those taking 285 just north of Highlands Ranch, 225 heading into Yosemite and I-25, and then your drive right now along westbound I-70. So from 225 heading into I-25, you're looking at a 9-minute drive. And just a quick heads up, if you're in Aurora officials, they actually just posted on social media saying that there's a water main break that's happening along Salida Way. So this is happening between Arizona and Arkansas. They're saying that it's going to take 7 hours to repair. So that area is probably going to be a mess all throughout the morning. Of course, give crews plenty of extra time this morning.
Brianna, thank you. You mentioned a really pretty sunrise. Skies are mostly cloudy, creating some beautiful colors out there. We do have one warning up to the north of Colorado that will take effect tomorrow. High winds expected near Wyoming with the approach of our next front. It's not major, and today will stay dry. Mostly cloudy skies, daytime highs not as warm as yesterday, but mid to upper 50s. That's about 10 degrees above average for this time of the year. Snow showers that we're tracking, it's nothing major, shouldn't cause a huge impact to us, very little accumulation, but that's our only chance for seeing any winter weather this early February for the first week of it. Now, live in Denver this morning as the sun comes up, just absolutely stunning. We'll stay under a cloudy sky for most of the day and very mild if you're heading out the door in and around the metro area from the airport to Central Park, out through Broomfield and Boulder. We're in the low 40s there. Castle Rock sitting at 37 degrees. Still some teens and single digits in the high country, so definitely a chilly start. You'll want the layers. But by 12 o'clock, 53 degrees and highs topping out at 55. Winds relatively calm, no hazardous weather to tell you about this Monday. Statewide, just above seasonal normal temperatures return. 30s and 40s we absolutely could use. Some more rain, snow, any precipitation. Drought conditions have continued to worsen this winter, and our snowpack unseasonably record low conditions. Now, as we get into early Tuesday, next best chance for picking up some moisture in the mountains will really arrive in the afternoon. You may find some winter driving conditions, and here indicated by the shades of green, that is rain. Temperatures tomorrow still in the 50s, so some wet weather. Not a lot of accumulation on the pavement with it just being so mild, but best chance for any accumulation, especially on grassy surfaces. Maybe bridges and overpasses will be early Wednesday. But as you can see, we get to 6 a.m. on Wednesday and we'll clear out with sunshine. Drew?
All right, thank you, Katie. A girls hockey team from California overcame tragedy to win the Western Girls Hockey League Finals in Littleton on Sunday. This is a remarkable story. We followed this team since last Thursday. That's when a snowplow driver lost control on I-70, hit the van that was carrying members of the Santa Clarita Lady Flyers. The father of one of the players died that day and several other people were hurt. The team told us, though, that they wanted to continue competing this weekend for the families involved. And yesterday, they won the championship in an overtime thriller.
Our hockey community is not as big as like basketball or football, but we're all one giant community and we all support each other. And my mind was just like, I'm so grateful to be a part of this.
That team told us, by the way, that the player's father who died last Thursday was well recognized in the tattooing community. Tattoo artists in California have helped raise $50,000 for his family.
A Denver judge has found that a man suspected of deadly stabbings on 16th Street is incompetent and cannot go to trial. Officers arrested 24-year-old Elijah Cottle last year. He's accused of killing 2 people and hurting 2 others in a series of stabbings. Celinda Levno was killed. She was a flight attendant who was in Denver for a layover when the attack happened. The other person who was killed was later identified as Nicholas Burkett. Last May, Connell's attorney asked that he undergo a mental health evaluation. As a result, a judge found he was incompetent to be prosecuted. 9 News Investigates learned Cottle left the Denver jail 2 months before the stabbings under a state program meant to help mentally ill inmates.
As Colorado's leaders try to close an $850 million budget gap, they're reviewing almost everything at this point, and that includes tens of millions of dollars that went to waste after Medicaid service providers were told to upcode some bill charges. So here's what happened. Back in 2020, the state told non-emergency medical transportation providers here in Denver that when they provide a van for an extra large wheelchair, they should bill the state for a specialty ambulance. The charge for a van is $65, but the charge for a specialty ambulance is $700. That's a massive difference that went on for years. So in a hearing this past week, the state's Joint Budget Committee laid out the issue and how it led to increased spending. They want to close that loophole. On the other side, medical transport providers say $65 is not enough for the special service they provide.
And you have to remember, this rate was in effect for 5 years. So you had people who entered this space in 2021, understanding this was kind of the business model. They used that large payment to subsidize some of the services.
So the state admits it had no idea how out of control this had gotten. They blame the fact that there were other rate increases and other fraud claims over the last 5 years. Officials expect to save about $90 million because of this over the next year and a half.
Later today, Denver City Council will consider a $325,000 settlement over an incident involving a Denver sheriff's deputy. This dates all the way back to 2019 and it was caught on camera. A deputy is seen hitting an inmate in a wheelchair multiple times. According to documents obtained by 9 News Investigates, the deputy, Jason Gentempo, said the inmate spit on him and that he was trying to block the spit. The victim's estate has sued the city and Gentempo. Council will discuss the proposed settlement at its 3:30 meeting today.
We expect senators at the state capitol to take up debate today on the proposed expansion of the red flag law. This law was the first of its kind when it passed, or one of the first of its kind anyway, when it passed in 2019. It allows certain people to raise a red flag and petition a court to take weapons away from a person who they think is high risk. Last year, courts saw more than 160 extreme risk protection order requests statewide. This year, lawmakers want to expand the list of people who can make one of those red flag requests to include healthcare facilities, mental health centers, and educational institutions. The bill passed a Senate committee last week, although no Republicans voted for it. Critics believe it will lead to overreach and violations of due process.